very much, Liz. So wonderful to have you with us today. And now is my divine pleasure to introduce our very own Reverend Sharon Johnson.
As if you didn't know. Here's something you probably didn't know, that Blair was a music major in college and had an epiphany and received a call to ministry. How many years ago, Blair?
40-some.
Yeah. So thank you for being here, and his son Nathan is with him. Raise your hand, Nathan. And he's got a couple more too. Nathan has a twin. Oh yeah, we don't know where he is this morning. Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been a minister?
33 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Long time.
Since you were a teenager, right?
A lot, yes. Thank you, sunshine. Yeah, tell that to my daughter and son as well. Well, how y'all doing today? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is low, 10 is high. I didn't hear a 1, did I? An auspicious day, an auspicious day. Ryan Speedo Green was born into a difficult life. Second son of a single mom who was pretty abusive, absent father, living in a rough trailer park in Virginia. He was put in a special class when he was still a little guy because he was totally unmanageable. By the time he was 12, he had a significant rap sheet. And at 12, the police came to his house and hauled him away to a juvenile detention center because he had threatened his mom and his brother with a knife. There in the detention center, he was still unmanageable and rageful and was put in solitary confinement. 4 walls, no sound. Now, at 6'5" and 300 pounds, this man who everyone considered to be destined to write a tragedy is still writing a tragedy, but in a different way. He now is a member of the Vienna State Opera and sings on the stage of the Met, as well as opera stages around the world in English, French, Italian, Spanish, and German. How does something like this happen, y'all? An epiphany or two, wouldn't you say? So our theme for the year, my theme, and I'm inviting you to make it yours. This is the young man. A book has been written about his life. Sing for your life. Our theme for the year, say it with me. The art of abundance. A year for courage, creativity, and commitment. Yes. Are you willing?
Yes.
Then let's say it. I'm coded for abundant living.
I am coded for abundant living.
Now say it for someone you know that needs to believe that. You are coded for abundant living. Now let's say it for all of us and all people everywhere. We are coded for abundant living. No matter what mistaken beliefs we've taken on in prior years, this is the year that I'm inviting myself and you to be committed to that, expressing that truth in all kinds of ways, but definitely by expressing our creativity, perhaps in new ways, perhaps in greater ways, wider ways, higher ways, deeper ways, and our courage. The story of Epiphany is the story of all three of those. The Magi in us and the Magi in the Christmas story dared to give up their lucrative careers and comfort zones to follow a hope and a dream, a star. The North Star, and you and I have a North Star too, right in here. And they traveled to lands they didn't know, like you and I are always being called to travel to lands we haven't met yet. And I don't mean countries. I mean by endeavor and courageous action and new ideas, divine ideas, as Blair said. So your contemplation for today, hopefully, and throughout the week, and maybe in conversations, contemplate what courageous step is Spirit asking me to take this year. It's not going to be just one step, you know that, right? It's going to be many steps along the way. In fact, I don't know about too many days that go by where some form of courage isn't called upon. Keep my mouth shut or open it, one of the two.
Get out of bed.
Or some form of creative response to life. And definitely under all of that, a commitment to spiritual principle and growing spiritually. You know, there is no such thing as the status quo. There is no such thing as the status quo. We're either growing or declining, take your pick. So the theme for today, whoops. Well, let's do this one now. This is Daniel Burnham's quote that I just love. In fact, I have it in a frame, a picture frame at home where I can see it. But he was a very famous, well-known architect in Chicago. So read this along with me. Come on y'all, make no little plan. They have no magic to stir men's blood. Make big plans. Aim high in hope and work, remembering that a noble diagram will not die. Do you know why it's never going to die? Because it's God's diagram. Printed indelibly within our heart and soul. And our job is to uncover it step by step, month by month, week by week, year by year. 2019. So the theme for today is?
Invite an epiphany.
Yeah. Betsy shared with you, an epiphany is like a light bulb going on. You know, great minds travel on the same circuits. It is a spiritual awakening. A light bulb does go on, and we see something, we realize something that we hadn't up until now, up until the moment. We hear a stirring within us and listen, and we hear something that we hadn't yet heard or didn't want to hear. You know what I'm saying? No, not that. Anything but that. Like ministry. I don't know how you felt, Blair, but when I was minding my own business, sitting in a church in Clearwater, Florida, Reverend Letty Hammock was the minister there. I heard this call, you ought to be a minister. And I said, well, that's ridiculous. That is plain ridiculous. So sometimes we just don't want to hear the call, so I messed with it for a year. But you know, when it's a noble diagram, it's not going to go away. We can hide it all we want, and there are plenty of ways to hide it. Busyness is one of them. But it will not go away. So light bulbs. The scripture that I wanted to share about that is the wise men, of course, but in Revelation. And this is John, who represents love, who wrote Revelation, through inspiration, through divine ideas flowing through him. And the angel of the church in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia represents agape love, that kind of love that is pervasive, deep, divine. And he said, the words of the Holy One, the True One, who has the key of David, who opens and no one can shut, who shuts and no one can open. And he goes on to say, behold, I have set before you an open door, a new year, an always forever invitation to discover more of the presence, the divine presence in us. And it goes on to say, because you have kept my word with patience, endurance, I will keep you from trials. He who conquers, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God. Whenever you and I conquer a negative attitude, perception, opinion, something that's self-defeating, we become a pillar. Our spiritual power and strength expands and grows to help us in our time of need and temptation. He who conquers, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God, and never shall he go out from it. And I will write on him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, the New Jerusalem, which comes down from my God out of heaven, and my own new name. Your own new name. Ryan Speedo Green got a new name. You got that, right? He got a new name. It used to be his first name was unmanageable, and then it was juvenile delinquent, and then it was rageful, but then it was opera star. Yeah. So there's something, a new name. You know how when the water gets stirred up, you can't quite see what's down there? But when we clear our mind and settle our thinking, we can see it, just like the new word that's waiting for us this year. Do any of you get Time magazine? I ask this often because I love Time magazine. It tries to be balanced, but the point that I make about it is that there's always something positive in it. I get to read inspiring stories, and I'm not trying to sell Time magazine, don't get me wrong. But every year for I don't know how many decades now, they have been voting on, vetting a person of the year. And this was a very different year in their consideration and selection, because of what's happening globally. So this year they chose 4 persons, 4 individuals, and 1 organization to be Person of the Year. And they all have their own names. They all have their own thing to do in the world that they have done, but they got a new name. Time gave them a new name, the Guardians. The Guardians of Truth. They named Jamal Khashoggi, 3 others that I was not familiar with, but who have given their lives and their resources for the truth, to explore, expose, express the truth. And that's been a global thing. And so the Magi, the heroes in our Epiphany story, gave everything they had to a new name, to the new name that they discovered, that the North Star revealed to them, a divine idea. Oh, this is who I am. This is what the divine in me wants me to be about, they said to themselves. Are we willing to do that? Are we willing to do that? Are we willing to be courageous about that? Creative about that? And committed about that? Just pause for a moment and ask yourself, which word of those do I not like so much? Which one is kind of sticking in here? Like, I don't want to do that. I'll be courageous, maybe. Yeah, well, I like creativity, so maybe I'll do that, but committed, because I got other stuff to do. But today, are you willing to, are we willing to step into maybe a new level of courage, creativity, and commitment? Creativity expresses in so many ways. Blair writes songs. Blair also travels a lot. And I'm coming with you next time.
Okay.
He also substitute teaches now. Ask him about that new name. So how about you? We're going to take time in just a little bit here for a meditative, quiet time where hopefully the waters will still, the waters of your heart and soul, your petri dish will still, and you will see a word there that Spirit would like for you to hold as your theme. So you all got a white stone, yeah? Yeah. Do you all have something to write with?
And I'll share.
You don't have to do it right now, but I just want to make sure you have what you need. So here are the guardians of truth. There's Khashoggi. So as you think about this year and the stone with the new name on it, a white stone, in those times, people were given white stones as an indication. Slaves were given white stones, prisoners, as a sign and a symbol of their new freedom. So the word that's revealed to you today is designed to give you new freedom in some way. From something, maybe a little thing, maybe a big thing. God knows. To make you a pillar in the temple of God, to make you a pillar of spiritual power and strength. So that stuff that happens in our lives doesn't bowl us over, upset our peace, rob us of our joy, like that. And it is the name of God. It'll be some inspiring name, some meaningful name, some divine idea kind of name. The city of God is David and it's love. So it will call us to be perhaps even more loving than we already are, if that's possible. And a new name for us. So to close on Ryan Speedo Green, started out as a delinquent, unmanageable, rageful, threatening to kill his mother and brother, now a star on opera stages around the globe. How did that happen? He says it happened, now this is Epiphany. He said it happened because of 3 people in his life. One was a social worker in the detention center who, despite him calling her ugly names, swearing at her, being rageful at her, never matched that behavior, never matched that kind of emotion, but continued to love him and see the best in him. The other one was Mrs. Hughes, a teacher he had in the 4th grade, who called him while he was in the detention center and said, "Don't let this moment define you." And the third was a psychiatrist in the detention center who helped him see himself and something else about him. that he hadn't seen before. And so when he got out of that detention center, he went back to school. He started studying Latin and other foreign languages, got into football, and a teacher encouraged him, another Epiphany, a teacher encouraged him to join the chorus. God is encouraging you and I to do something this year. Something. So this is a year for practicing courage, creativity, and commitment. And I put in here gratitude, love, and service too. Because gratitude is like a magnet for miracles. The more we're grateful, the more we get to be grateful for. And love is just the answer, always the answer. And service gets us outside of ourselves. And that is a step in the right direction. So my favorite poet, David White, said, what beautiful, courageous step could you take today that your future self will look back and thank you for? That's the question to take into your heart and home with you. So let's have our time of contemplation here. While you clear your mind to hear the word, and then you'll write it on your white stone. So I'll give you time after sharing a couple of ideas here to be in the silence and discern that word. So hold the white stone in your hand. And close your eyes and take some deep breaths and know that a door is open before you now. And if we were to read further in that chapter in Revelation, we would read, Spirit saying, behold, I stand at the door and knock. For all who invite me to come in, I will come in and stay and dine with him. In other words, communicate. So imagine yourself now, open your imagination and imagine yourself on a most beautiful beach. It's a perfect day. And as you walk along the beach, you hear the waves as they come in and caress the shore. You might see people playing ball, enjoying the beauty of this crystal clear sunny day. You can smell the tanning oil, the water. And walking along, you come to a bench and see yourself take a seat on this beautiful day, this beautiful place. And as you're sitting there looking out and enjoying all that feeds your senses, you notice a figure coming toward you. A smiling figure. The figure approaches you and you see that it's Jesus. And in his hand is a gift box, and he sits down next to you and he tells you that he has a gift for you that is a key to who you are called to be now. A key, something that is going to bless you. And watch him open the box now, and he takes out a white stone and puts it in your hand. He asks you to say a prayer and then open your hand and see the word that is written there on the white stone. And take a deep breath and offer yourself, say a prayer. A wonderful prayer might be, I'm willing. I'm willing, Lord, show me the way. And in your mind's eye now, open your hand and look at the white stone. Just in your mind's eye, look for the word that begins to reveal itself to you. Oh, many words may come. You may think you're seeing many words, but one will become strong and reveal itself to you. Maybe it's 2 words. When you see the word that is clear, try it on like a wedding garment. Try it on your heart. See the word written in your heart. See it written on your solar plexus. And then see it written in your third eye, your imagination. Right there in the middle of your head, right behind your physical eyes. And silently affirm now, God has a plan for my life and it's a good one. I go to live it now. God has a plan for my life and it's a good one. I go to live it now. And take another deep breath, and when you're ready, open your eyes and write the word on your stone. Okay. I hope you all got a word. If you didn't just now, I know you will get one. This is something John Denver said. I found it, I've been keeping it for years. I've had this because it's a reminder that we make a difference in the world. And we're here to make it, we are here to make a difference, a positive difference in the world. So let's read it together. What one person can do is dream. What one person can do is try. What one person can do is take the world and make it new again. Here you see what one person can do. Point to your heart and say, this means me. This means me, Sharon Ann. Turn to the person next to you and say, this means you. This means you, Mark. This means you, Mark. By the way, did I say, let's thank Mark for doing all the paperwork for our Alhambra $1,000 donation. Yeah, appreciate that. Okay, are you all ready for a big year?
Yes!
Are you sure? Woohoo! Well, I'll close with this and then we'll speak the offertory. Here's something else I have saved for years because I think it's important that we all keep ourselves inspired all the time. And we're not getting inspired by watching the news on TV at night. Yeah. You got to find things that inspire you and let it feed your soul because good ideas are life-giving. Good, noble ideas are life-giving. Those that are not are diminishing, so stay away from them. Are we committed?
Yes.
Woohoo! Okay, this is what Sri Dayamata said. She was I guess you would say, the CEO of the Self-Realization Fellowship. She says, as we enter the new year, take firm hold of God's hand. Isn't that a pretty picture? Take firm hold of God's hand and ask God to help you in all your decisions and endeavors. Meditate more to attune your thoughts to God through deep inner stillness and communion. And make God a part of your every waking moment. That's the way to epiphanies. Praise God, amen.
Amen.
It is the offertory time.